Hello, welcome to Google Forms presentation. We're going to go into how to use Google Forms specifically in Google Classroom and data collection for you as an educator. So Google Forms is one way in Google Classroom that you can make questionnaires, tests, easy data collection, writing collection, however you want to get creative with using it. It's a really good tool. So how we're going to create a Google form in Google Classroom is you go to classwork. After you go to the class you would like to assign it, go to classwork, create, and then there's actually a thing that's a little tab that says quiz assignment. So go ahead and click that. As you can see, it's already starting a blank one for you. You have to, it's not ready, so you have to go ahead and click it and start creating it. A cool thing about this, before I start talking about this, a cool thing is with the quiz and or questionnaire or whatever you want to use this for, you can still add additional videos, resources, anything. So if you wanted them to actually read a passage and then fill out a quiz, you can actually add the passage to this assignment as well. Or if you would like them to watch a video and then answer a few questions about it, that can all be right here added under links or YouTube or file. Getting into Google Forms, there's a lot to process, but once you get the hang of it, it's not as overwhelming. Always, 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 for your sake, trust me, make question one name. If you do not do that, we do have a fallback where it will automatically collect emails, but this is easier for you, and we'll show you why when we collect the information when they answer as it files into our Excel sheet. It's just easier when you start with the name and you can just go across and see exactly who it was that answered. I don't know if you noticed, but right when I typed that in, it kind of smart guessed that I wanted a short answer here and not multiple choice, which is exactly what I want. But you do always have an option to change it to short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, check boxes, and drop down. The ones that are used most often are multiple choice, paragraph, short answer, and sometimes check boxes. Anytime you do a quiz, I would recommend you make everything required. If this is not purple and switched all the way over to required, they do not have to answer it and they can actually submit it with no answer. So we always want to make sure we're making the questions required. Excuse me, especially the name. Okay, so you have question one. What now? There is this little plus sign, add question. This is where you can get into actually asking questions about the content and or lesson that you wanted to assess them on or have them practice on their own. So question one, ask a question about the video you watched. So pretend you're asking them a question about this. I'm going to show you a multiple choice option. So option one, so you have to go in and actually type out what you want. Add option. That's all you have to do. I didn't do anything. I just clicked add option. And see how it just keeps adding? So you actually can control if there's 2 options, 3 options, 6 options. I would not recommend 6, but that's what you would like. The other cool thing about Google Classroom is that when you use Google Forms through Google Classroom, you can have an answer key. So I click the answer key and say we want the answer to be read. This way, it automatically grades it for you. So if they click anything other than read, it will tell you they got it wrong. And then remember, always make it required. Now let's show you a short answer. Explain in one sentence what you learned. You know, it kind of wanted to do a paragraph there, but say you said one sentence, so short answer. This is tricky because there can be an answer key, and you can literally type out key things or words you would like to see. Personally, the short answers, I don't like to do that. It just is a little more work for the educator because you have to go in and read everything they put in. But that is an option you have. Right. And if you want to get into it and make it fun, you can actually add images. So you can upload images right into this question. I use this image feature, especially when I do a paragraph writing question. So summarize in a paragraph what you have learned. Once again, these are just examples. I'm not saying this is best practice. You want to have a lot more detail. You want it to flow. I'm just kind of showing you the functions here. So now they will have a lot of room to type. Sometimes I like to add a graphic organizer image in just to remind them kind of how to write a paragraph, what I'm looking for. There are times where I've added other graphic organizers, especially when I've used forms for a math situation or a math problem. I will add some of our keys or timetables. That way they don't have to flip back and forth. It's all right there. If you did have this questionnaire about a video, YouTube video you reviewed in class or wanted them to review, you can actually add the video in here again and link it to the Google Classroom assignment. If you're just really trying to set your students up for the best and smooth way to get this done. Okay, add one more. I'm going to show you one more option you have. Check all that are correct. This is a little more advanced. So decide if your students are ready for this. And it is check boxes because, like I said, I'm just clicking add option and it's letting me add options. Checkbox is great when you have more than one correct answer. So I can go ahead and do that. And now they have to click both to get this question correct. You can actually take the image thing even further and go in and add an image for each answer option. But you're just trying to get data quick after you did a lesson. This is great. See how I forgot? They could have not have answered that and they would have moved on with their lives. Okay, now that we know how to add questions and the different types of questions, I would always, always, always title your quiz so that way it will automatically change up here. I'm going to do it just to be sure. Okay, here are some other reminders. Settings. This is very important. It will always say restrict to users and Inspired Charter services. We do not want that. If you do that, only employees of Inspired Charter Services will be able to access this link. So always, always, always make sure this is unchecked. Always check collect email addresses as a fallback in case you forget to put a question asking for their name and or you forget to make that required. If you do not have any fallback, you will have no way of knowing who submitted the quiz. So recommendation, always collect email addresses, always unmark this, save. Okay, so what do we do now when they start responding? It can be very chaotic. and really hard to read the data if you just let it file into here. So what I recommend is linking it to a spreadsheet. There are two ways to do this. If this is your first form ever for this class, you want to click Create Spreadsheet. It's this green little box, kind of looks like a present, but it's actually the app image for Google Sheets. So go ahead and click Create Spreadsheet. Like I said, if this is the first form you're making for this class, you're going to want to create a new spreadsheet. If you already have a spreadsheet for this class and you have made forms before, you want to select an existing spreadsheet and use the same one for the same class. I'll show you in just a second. So we're going to create a new one. And it will automatically create and open this spreadsheet for you. Okay. So what happens is it gives you a timestamp as they fill this out and hit submit. It will tell you when they did it. The email address will populate right here. The score, because you added a key, it will actually give you the score. And then it will start going into the question. So your first question was name, so that's popped up here. And then their answers will populate underneath. This is why I said it's a lot easier to create a spreadsheet than to look at the information that populates in here, because it will just populate by question. And then you have to go through and see who answered the question. Whereas here, you can just go right across. You know this is Jane Doe, and you can see exactly what she answered. Once you have this created for this class, I would rename this ELA 1. Once again, this is your first sheet for this class. And then still down in tab 1, form responses 1, you can just change this to quiz. These are just kind of housekeeping items. Okay, so now that you have this ready, ready. Example quiz. Sorry, I'm filling this out. Lock mode is on Chromebooks, which means if you click this, they can't do anything else on a Chromebook, but they have to have a Chromebook. So we're going to go ahead and sign this. As you can see, it all populated into this assignment. When they open it, they're going to be able to fill it out. Now, just to show you how you can link a quiz to an existing spreadsheet. So I'm making quiz 2 for the same class. This is just another assignment, maybe a week later, a month later. So I'm making this. Name required. Example quiz 2. Okay, so let's go to responses. Create spreadsheet. So I already have a spreadsheet for this class. I'm going to select existing spreadsheet. What it does is it takes you to your drive, Google Sheets drive. So I have ELA class, and it automatically linked it to one I have already created. So this was, if you remember right here, this was my first quiz I made. And now the second one has populated in here. This way, your data is very organized and all in one place. And if you're very uncomfortable with Google Sheets, there is a PD on that, and you can go explore that and maybe feel a little more comfortable with using this, because it is a great tool. If you still have questions after this video and reviewing the presentation available to you, there is an additional videos and resources on Google. I have one linked right here, Google's first day of Google Forms, and it has all sorts of Q&As and answers for you, even a search engine for you to maybe find more information I have not provided. Play around with it, get familiar with it, and then join us at our Google workshop if you still have questions and or would like more live demonstrations on how to use these tools. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time, your patience, and your hard work.